Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another video. Today we are basically wrapping up our review of set 15 with the final green archetype, Green Goku. If you guys saw my Vegeta video, yeah, it was a little bit harsh, but this archetype's not as bad, but still a pretty unimpressive green archetype, but we will talk about it. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss a video. And if you guys want to help support the channel, there are many ways to do so down in the description. But if you want to buy or pre-order any of the cards you see in today's video, or any trading card game cards for that matter, use my link in the description to TCG Player. Really does help out. That being said, we will get into it, starting with the leader. So we have Son Goku, when this card's placed in your leader area. Activate one King Kai's planet from your deck. Auto when this card attacks, draw one. Awaken when your life's at 4 or less, or your opponent's leader card's back is facing up. You may switch 20 of your energy to active mode and have this card get plus 5,000 power for the turn. Then flip this card over. So you would ideally want to awaken before attacking, just so you can get that extra 5k boost. And kind of the gimmick of this entire deck is making your leader really big. So on the awaken side, when this card attacks, draw one. Activate main, send 4 King Kai's training from under a King Kai's planet in your battle area to the owner's warps. This card gets 45,000 power for the turn and minus 15,000 power during the next turn. So yeah, the main gimmick, like I said, with this activate main is to make your leader incredibly big. You would be a 60k leader, possibly 65k if you also had the 5k from the awaken ability. So that's interesting, but then you have to realize that you're playing green and there is not a single counter that allows your leader to attack through 99% of negates in green. So that's pretty problematic. Not really going to work out too well, because one negate just says, okay, that attack's done, I don't have to deal with it, and then you're a 0 power leader next turn. And what's even worse about that is there are more cards in the deck that potentially minus 15k your leader, and that's just such a really huge drawback. Like, I could see if you printed cards that were like insanely strong and you wanted to have a crazy drawback like minus 15k your leader, but these cards just aren't that. So the minus 15k is such a drawback that it makes it really hard to play. So activate battle once per turn. Place one King Kai's training from under a King Kai's planet in your battle area into the owner's drop area. This card gets plus 10,000 power for the battle and minus 10,000 power during the next turn. So this is a much more manageable effect because it is activate battle, so you can check to see if your opponent's negating first, and then you can use the activate battle if you want to. Would have been nice if that first effect was an activate battle. Like, maybe you can argue that would have been unbalanced, but I mean, I don't know, one time you get to be a 65k leader. You don't have to be at 2 life if you're afraid of like this plus Champa. I don't know, it would have made the leader a little bit more interesting, especially again for that huge drawback of going to 0 or possibly even less than 0 power during your opponent's next turn. But anyways, of course, with this leader we had to know what the field card does. So we have King Kai's planet. It's a 10-drop field card with no protection. So one of the biggest critiques of this field card is that it can be popped pretty easily by Tactical Victory Vegeta. Of course, though, that means you'd have to be playing green, and odds are you're not playing green unless you're playing Cell Surge or maybe some other fringe decks like Majin Buu or Majin Vegeta. But that is a sideboard card that does mess this strategy up pretty well. So field, activate main once per turn. Place to one King Kai's training from your deck, life, or drop area under this card, then shuffle any areas you look through with this skill. So it's actually kind of similar to like a wish leader, where you get to basically search all the hidden areas and, you know, put a copy of King Kai's training underneath it. That's how you kind of get your engine going per se. Activate main once per turn. If there are 4 King Kai's training under this card, choose one. Choose up to one Son Goku confronting invasion in your hand and play it. So a little bit of free play, that's cool. Choose all green Goku cards in your leader area and battle area. They get plus 5,000 power for the turn, or draw one card. They choose a card in your hand and place it at the bottom of the owner's deck. So all decent effects. We'll see what confronting invasion does in just a second, but besides that, like giving all your Gokus in your leader and battle area plus 5k can kind of help you match up with like sensu beans, I guess. The draw one, bottom deck one, just a decent filter. But again, this requires you to have all 4 King Kai's training under this card. So how quickly can you do that? Well, theoretically it would take you 4 turns if you're using all the activate main skills of this card alone. But then we read King Kai's training itself. Activate main, choose one King Kai's planet in your battle area, place this card under the chosen card, add one Son Goku confronting invasion from your deck to your hand, then shuffle your deck. So this is not too bad. It does cost 1 energy, which is a little bit annoying. I kind of wish it was a 0 cost extra card, but basically you pay 1, you put it under the field card, and then you get to search for a Goku battle card. And it's the same Goku battle card that the King Kai planet can actually free play. So some decent synergy there, but again, the fact you have to actually cast King Kai training for 1 is a little bit annoying. Then we have the Unison for the deck. So Krillin, Staunch Defender. We have a 2-drop 15k, auto once per turn if you place 3 or less, and it's your opponent's turn. When your leader card's power is decreased, switch this card to active mode and it gains blocker for the turn. And so basically, when you have to suffer one of the effects, one of the drawbacks of your leader losing power, your Unison becomes a blocker, but it's 2-drop 15k Unison in green. So odds are, playing it early, it's not gonna stick all that much around, which is kind of rough. But activate main +1, choose 1 card in your hand and place it at the bottom of the deck. For every 2 King Kai's training under a King Kai's planet in your battle area, draw 1. So the potential for a draw 2, although again you'd have to have all 4 King Kai's training under King Kai's planet, so not super consistent early on, but it is an interesting little way the card is designed. Activate main -1, your opponent chooses a card in their hand and discards it. So you might use that like if you're going for game, for example, but again, like it's going to be a little bit tough for this Unison to stick in most matchups, especially most mid-range matchups that can probably kill this thing pretty quickly. That's just kind of the nature of 2-drop 15k Unisons that gain a marker. Even the hit Unison in set 15, which is a very, very powerful Unison, is going to suffer from that problem as well because it's pretty vulnerable on turn 2s. But then we have Training Goals Son Goku. 1-drop 4k. When this card's played, look at top 5. Choose 1 green Goku with energy cost of 5 or less. So you definitely want to look at the other Gokus in the game that are green that cost 5 or less. Or 1 green Unison with cost of 2 among them, add them to your hand and shuffle your deck. So other important Unisons that can grab is like SS3 Vegito, Bardock Paternal Unison. Those are pretty decent targets as well for this. Activate main limit 1 for a green. If there are 3 or more King Kai's training under a King Kai's planet in your battle area, choose 1 Goku confronting invasion in your deck or warp, play on top of this card, then shuffle your deck if you look through it. So there are a couple ways now to cheat out this this Goku confronting invasion. So it's definitely going to be the start of our Goku chain. We also have North Kai Master's Guidance, 1-drop 5k, choose 1 King Kai's planet in your battle area. When this card's played, draw 1, then place the 1 King Kai's training from your deck or drop under the chosen card, then shuffle your deck if you look through it. So I do really like this card for getting more copies of King Kai's training under the field card. Like this also costs 1, but it draws you a card back and it doesn't require you to have the extra card in your hand. So I do like this card a lot actually for that reason. All right guys, we'll get into the meat of the Goku chain in just a second, but real quick, a word from today's video sponsor. Dragon Ballers, real quick before we get into today's video, just want to share something with you guys that I am very excited about. PPG is going to be hosting the Pro Support TCG weekend in Dallas, Texas, the weekend of November 6th. It's going to be a giant TCG convention weekend hosting all your favorite games, obviously Dragon Ball Super, Digimon, Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, and more. Tournaments for all those. I'm actually going to be there commentating the Dragon Ball Super side of things, the main event on Saturday, the side events on Sunday. I absolutely cannot wait. And if you guys missed out on Gen Con or heard me talk about how much fun that was, you're 110% gonna want to be at the Pro Support TCG weekend. The other great thing too is it's just 2 weeks before Nationals, the biggest Dragon Ball Super tournament of the year, so you can get some invaluable practice there. But besides that, it's a convention. It's gonna be so much fun, especially for those of you guys like me that just absolutely love trading card games. Definitely check it out. The link to sign up will be in the description. I really hope to see you guys there. Now let's get into the video. Alright, I do hope to see you guys at the Pro Support TCG weekend. But anyways, we have a bunch of red Gokus to look at. So Kaioken Son Goku confronting invasion, 2-drop 15k unique barrier, activate main limit 1. If there are a total of 4 King Kai's training in your warp and or under a King Kai's planet in your battle area, send this card to the owner's warp, then play 1 Goku maximum gains for your deck, then shuffle your deck. So once you have all 4 copies under the field, you basically get to go into maximum gains for 1. 3-drop 19k auto. When this card's played, draw 1, then choose 1 opponent's battle cards with energy cost of 4 or less and KO it. And then activate main limit 1 for a green. If your opponent has 3 or more energy and your life's less than or equal to your opponent's, choose 1 Kaioken Goku decisive battle in your hand and play it on top of this card. So that's kind of just a way to cheat Decisive Battle's evolve cost, which is 3 green if your opponent has 3 or more energy over a Goku with a cost of 2 or 3. So lots of keyword skills here. It's got deflect, double strike, barrier, and dual attack, so really good protection. Auto, when this card's played, choose 2 of your opponent's battle cards ignoring barrier and KO them. If your leader card and some Goku cards in your battle area get minus 10,000 power during your opponent's next turn. So again, that same drawback of minusing your leader's power, which is a really rough one. Like choosing 2 battle cards to remove ignoring barrier is a very powerful effect, but I just don't think that drawback, while it is kind of thematic, it's kind of cool that you're getting such a powerful boost using Kaioken and then, you know, making your leader a lot weaker during your opponent's turn. I like the thematicism there, but it's just such a drawback that I don't think this can overcome it in a more competitive sense. But anyways, at the end of your turn, send this card to the owner's warp. If you do, play up to 1 Goku confronting invasion from your warp. That's also really annoying. So you lose this card after the turn's over. You can restart the chain, but that involves you drawing as many copies of Decisive Battle as you possibly can, and you have to pay all that energy again to basically go through your chain. So that's really, really rough. Like, this card has 2 really glaring drawbacks that I think are just way too much. It's really, really unfortunate. They could have just went with one or the other. Like, make my leader 5k for the turn, but don't let me lose. Don't make me lose this card. You know what I mean? That's just my thoughts on it, at least. But anyways, a few more cards to read for the archetype. Training Buddy Gregory, pretty cool to see Gregory on his first card here. Auto choose a card in your hand, place it at the bottom of your deck, then place 1 King Kai's training from under a King Kai's plant in your battle area into your drop area. When this card's played, draw 2. I'm not sure what kind of circumstances you'd want to be taking trainings out from under your field card, but this can do that, I guess. It does draw 2, which is kind of cool. Activate battle for a green, place a card in the owner's drop area, choose one of your Sun Goku cards, gets plus 15,000 power for the battle. So a little 1-drop 15k combo, and okay, I mean, it just is not that great when your leader is starting off at about 0 or 5k power. Piccolo confronting invasion, block or counter attack, negate the attack and play this card. Permanent for leader is a green Goku card, and at your opponent's turn, reduce energy cost of this card in your hand by 1. 2 energy, negating attack and block. That's just okay, not amazing, not terrible. Yamcha confronting invasion, 3-drop 20k, dual attack permanent. If your opponent has 6 or more battle cards in play, reduce energy cost of this card in your hand by 2, so it could be a 1-drop potentially. Auto at the end of your turn, if your opponent has a battle card with energy cost of 1 in play in their battle area, place this card in the owner's drop. So this is just a super thematic Yamcha. If your opponent has a bunch of Cybermen in play, like if they're playing Nappa, you can play this for 1, get 2 big attacks off, but if they still have a battle card cost of 1, this card just dies. So that's kind of weird. But anyways, guys, that is going to wrap up the discussion of the Goku archetype. What do I think about it overall? Another pretty disappointing archetype. I wouldn't say this one feels unfinished like Vegeta does. Vegeta just feels like it totally lacks any type of boss monster, whereas Goku doesn't really have that problem, but the gimmick is way too convoluted, which is kind of like a theme of this entire set. It just takes way too much setup, which is kind of rough. And all these drawbacks on these Kaioken Goku cards they're just way too much. Like, again, the Decisive Battle card, both losing it at the end of the turn and making your leader minus power during the next turn, it's just too much from a competitive standpoint. I do like some of the cards, but it's going to be a bit rough. I really wish Bandai would have juiced up green a little bit, considering how weak it's been in most of the Unison Warrior block. But anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time.